Hey, come here. Welcome back to Not an Expert. A sharpening. Okay, I can't. So, when I was editing the last episode with the broken tip K-tip Nakiri by Nigara, I'm like mid-edit, and when I got to the 1200 stone or plate here, I'm seeing my face as I'm going back and forth sharpening, and it just really creeps me out. So hopefully that creeps you out too, because if not, it's kind of weird. Anyway, welcome back to Not an Expert, a series where I, not the expert, share my experience sharpening knives. I believe this is episode 6 or 7, and I have learned a lot throughout this process, but I've learned a lot from y'all in the comments as well. And within every single episode, I have been asked to use Atoma Diamond Plates fully from start to finish. Last episode, I used them to grind down the tip of the K-tip in the spine. This one, I'm going to use it for the entire process. And I'm going to sharpen my trusty global G-2 chef's knife. As you can see, I've already done a little bit of damage to this blade. I have scratched this at the tip, you can see right there, using, well, I'm gonna say I was using a diamond steel, and it's very easy to scratch your blade, as you can see. Now, I've scratched my blade on whetstones, but it was very easy on that. And I figured also with the mono steel-esque construction with the diamond plates, it just fit the vibe. And it's a super popular chef's knife. For a Japanese knife at that 56-ish Rockwell, it's really easy to hone, maintain, sharpen, and you can beat this much more so than most Japanese knives. Okay, let's break down the plates that I have. This is the Atoma packaging. Aside from the name and some numbers and made in Japan, it is all in Japanese. So I don't know what it says. I believe all the stones, I'm going to say stones instead of plates often in this. If you hear me say stone, I'm most likely referring to one of these plates. Diamond coated plate. They have different grits. The highest is a 1200, which for normal whetstone sharpening, you can get away with a 1800 to 1200 stone as your single stone, unless you have a really messed up edge. And no water, nothing is needed. When you go like that, when you're done, you will have bits of steel on you. And I have a white rag to be able to show that a little bit better. Okay, what am I using? This is the Naniwa stone or diamond plate holder or holder. You can put a stone directly on this, or you can then use the holder itself like this Naniwa, or you could use one of these plastic ones like so, like the Sharpens come with. You could just put right on here, and that's going to help you stabilize your stone or plate while you're sharpening. This is grippy, but not as grippy as with that. I have a 140, get my finger out of the way, there we go. I have a 140, I have a 400, and then I have the 1200. I am going to use all three intentionally here, obviously. Intentionally. Just tighten this. And to give you an idea of the condition of this global right now, let's see. Not bad. It's sharp. See that little bit of a curve, and it stops. Coming from the side, it doesn't like to really grab. A little bit there, but if you've seen the other videos, you got to be able to slice paper from an angle on the side and do a little loop-de-loop. So it's decent. Would it cut a tomato? Probably. Definitely would need honing immediately after. And I'm just going to dull this knife on the 140. It's painful to do this. Physically, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. But I do it for you. Okay, let's give it a go here. I think it's safe to say it's pretty dull. Now, we're gonna move over to the, I could probably do the whole thing with the 1200. I don't know, I could have made some, yeah, I can actually see, let's see if y'all can see what I'm seeing. You can see the reflection of light on the edge at different areas is pretty, yeah, not looking good. Not looking good. Yeah, right there you can see all the little, I don't know if you should call them burrs at that point. So we're just gonna go right to the 400. 400 grit, whether it's a plate or a whetstone, is going to be for repair. That's where you really need to remove a good amount of metal and you need to reshape the edge geometry, the primary edge geometry. Okay, also have this new strop I'm excited to show you. I'm going to do this in the same method as I have any other knife. I'm going to hold the blade at basically the, in this case, because of these monosteel-esque construction. Global knives are not monosteel, they are welded. You can ever so faintly see the weld line right there. So it appears to be monosteel, but it's not. Monosteel blade going into a hollow handle that is then weighted with sand and then capped off. Okay, we're gonna hold this at a 15 to 20 degree angle, in that ballpark. The knife is gonna let me know as I'm sharpening. That's something I've learned. These guides that hold your blade at a certain degree, they're gimmicky. I think we may even have, or we're getting rid of them on the site. They're gimmicky. They don't work unless your blade is perfectly dead straight. Totally dead straight. Like even that little bit of curvature, sorry for my dusty blade there, that little bit of curvature in that guide, not gonna work anymore. So 15 to 20 degree, and we're gonna go from tip to heel, tip to heel. And notice, if you watch this arm, it's going to come up just a little bit at my elbow because I'm working with the curvature of the blade because I want to maintain the angle all throughout. And that slight lift here is working with that. And you can't get that with those knife sharpening angle guides. Okay. I've gone back and forth from focusing on one side primarily, developing that burr, going to the other, developing that burr, and then alternating back and forth. I've seen different sharpening techniques, and I've done both ways where focus on one side, focus on the other, and then I've done back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. And at the end of the day, both have resulted in a sharp knife that can slice paper tomatoes and work phenomenally. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way, poor kitties. I'm allergic, but anyway. There's more to one way to sharpen a knife. So don't get hung up on sharpening dogma. That's what I'll say. In this case, because I dulled that blade significantly, I am going to focus on one side and then the next because that makes more sense to me because I'm trying to reshape that edge. Ooh, a little too far there. It happens. Stand back a little. There we go. Actually, what happened there, I'm not gonna lie. That wasn't just like a little faux pas or mistake. Was it a faux pas or is that something you say? I don't know. I looked at my monitor and I lost track. You shouldn't be looking at your monitor while you're doing this. Okay, so the point here is to, let's see, I'm sharpening this way. So my burr is going to be the opposite side. Not sure if you could hear that. Hopefully in my editing, I can bump that up. You're not feeling the burr this way. You're feeling the burr from the side of the knife. And I can definitely feel it pretty much all the way. It's not as big at the tip, so I'm just gonna come back here. I'm gonna focus a little bit on the tip. And then I'm going to go back into the whole blade and in my mind kind of even things back out. Okay, I feel that burr all the way to the very tip. Ooh, that was just a genuine mistake. I was putting so much pressure here, I slipped off and it came down and I could have cut myself there. Thankfully, it's not super sharp. These are the types of things that I don't think a lot of other people show in knife sharpening videos because they want to come across as the expert. I am not. I'm just trying to keep it real. Okay, that burr feels even all throughout. So now we're going to go this way. I have that burr, which means I have reshaped that side of the edge. Now we're going to go over to this side, which is going to essentially grind off a lot of that burr, and then it's going to straighten it back out a bit and push it towards the other side, but it shouldn't be as bad, I think. Anyway, now I'm doing the opposite. I'm going from the tip to the heel this way. Now, if you can do this with, wow, this way to that way, work with both hands. My brain just stopped even just trying to figure that out. So for me, I'm right dominant, I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna do it like this. Interesting. Look at the, come on, autofocus. You can see the shards from the burr right there already straightening out. That's pretty cool. Okay, here we go. I don't know why I keep doing that. I think maybe just because I'm putting a little bit too much force on the blade. Look at this coming off. This angle, I'm looking at my monitor, isn't as much, maybe. So there you can see a little bit better kind of how the angle that I'm at. Lots of metal coming off here. It's weird doing this without water. And look at that. All of it sticking to the knife. Now, there's a good chance that this blade is slightly magnetized. It's actually, I can guarantee it's slightly magnetized because of being on various magnetic bars over the last year and a half, 2 years that I've had this blade specifically. This is actually our everyday stainless steel driver that's downstairs. My wife uses this a lot, and then I use this when I'm doing tweaks and torques and popping out avocado seeds or breaking down a watermelon. I don't want to feel like even thinking twice about using a high carbon steel blade. Simple prep, something I just want to leave dirty for a bit. It's great. So that slight magnification, it's slightly magnified, so it's holding on to all of that bit of stainless steel that would normally just be in my water and muddled around. So now we're feeling for the burr this way, which there's plenty of a burr. I'm gonna go a bit longer. Someone in the comments told me to slow down, and they said that they could see that when I was doing it this way, there was a wobbliness in the spine reflecting off of the light. Now that could be because there's multiple lights. I've got a huge one here, I've got one coming down here, and then I have light that's reflecting off of my white ceiling, and I also have the TV here, like a 55-inch TV I use as my monitor. So maybe there was a little bit of that, but I've been thinking about it, and I noticed in some of the I've gotten more comfortable, so I was going faster. And maybe because I don't have the water and the sound, I'm feeling like going slower with this is probably best. So I'm going on this side. There's no burr, which is a good thing because I was sharpening the other side. And now I'm feeling this, and there is a burr all the way across. And you can see I've also got some little bit of metal sticking to the tip there. Okay. Now that I did a burr on each side, I've reshaped the edge geometry. I'm going to alternate and basically try and get rid of the burr and have it stick more straight out. Finish with a strop motion. And then just for the hell of it, that's pretty significant. I didn't think that that would happen off of a 400. Let's do this new Enso, US made, locally sourced walnut and leather out of Oregon, United States. Rough and then a softer side. Let's do a little strop on the rough side, which is going to help remove burr. Go back to this paper. Okay, any bit of angle, it doesn't like it. Okay, I can feel it getting hung up. So it's sharp. This is probably sharper than a lot of people's knives right now. Not yours, because you've been following the series and you've been sharpening your knife. Now we're gonna move on to the, man, I just had a weird feeling that I did not hit record on this one camera, which would really, nope, I'm good. This one's got a light on it, that one doesn't. Now I'm paranoid, oh boy. Okay, red all around. Now we're gonna go up to the 1200, which is the max grit of the Atomas. And this is where you're gonna get to, sorry, just look me in the eyes. Listen, I could not have planned this if I tried. This is just, it's the angle. The top down point of view, my bald head kept getting in the way, so I had to go more perspective, right? Audience perspective. Like if you were sitting 6 feet above me. Okay, same thing. Hold on, I've got two options. I've got some cold brew and a lemon soda water chaser. Let's go. Very different feel. This I can probably go a little faster with, but I am gonna slow down. I'm not gonna get cocky, and because it feels like I can, doesn't mean that I should. Everyone's gonna be judging the wobbliness of the light reflecting off the spine, which is fine, because I'm here to learn. Okay, so I just decreased my angle, and I felt a bite. I'm gonna go with that because in my mind that's saying you're getting some metal, but you're not totally reshaping it, and you're gonna have a more acute edge, which would be better for that swoop type of motion. So if I was, say, at 20 before, I'm probably closer to 15 now. Who knows? Seriously, if you want to go online, find a circle or an image of a 15, a 20, a 10, whatever, and print them out and have them next to you. So at least you have something to visualize. That's all I could say to do if you really want to get dialed in. Some people in the comments are like, oh, well, this knife is supposed to be sharpened to a 9 degree. Okay, go for it. Do you really think that every single knife that's coming out of that factory is 9 degrees? Some of the mass-produced, all machine, sure, but the ones that are sharpened by hand, like Miyabi. Miyabi, people would say, are mass-produced. In a way, they are because they are a big manufacturer, but they are hand sharpened and hand finished. So they're not all going to be identical. Don't get hung up on specs out of the box. Get hung up on the way it feels when it's in your hand. Listen to me, I sound like a poet. Nice burr, except for the tip. Ooh, I definitely changed that tip. I think better. Okay, check this out. See the height of the sharpened edge at the tip there? That is better than, in my opinion, than this out of the box. I don't have one out of the box that's brand new to compare to, but just going off of memory. So I have taken that sharpened edge, it was more like this, and I probably brought it closer to that. Now we're going this way. Now I'm going to finish this a little bit more. Okay, other side. You know what? I'm gonna do it. This is my everyday carry pocket knife. Civivi, Amazon. It's like 75 bucks. I love this gravity, I think they call it, to open and close. Just pop out, boom, ready to rock. Open up them Amazon boxes. I'm gonna sharpen that at the very end. Quickly, just on this 1200. Oh, might as well share. This is the last video that I will be filming for Cutlery and More in this studio. Sorry, I just turned 40 last weekend, so my need for dumb dad type jokes and whatnot is it's coming out. Anyway, we are moving to Augusta, Georgia to be closer to some friends. And I have a very similar room that the new studio is going to be in. It has the same type of thing. The door is there. It's longer and skinnier than this. We've got a window back here. But the big difference is this is 14 feet wide. The new one is 11 and a half, so I'm losing space. However, the angled ceilings start here at my head, not down at my waist. So I will technically have less width, but I think more usable space, especially for the big lights and stuff like that. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the angle like this or if I'm gonna come straight on. I was thinking of being more out in the center of the room to have more bokeh, more blur behind me, and kind of go of a little bit more of an industrial type of vibe. This is somewhat industrial, but it's warm because of the wood tone and the lighting. I don't know, I'm trying to decide. I could just plug and play, be ready to rock, take me probably a day and a half to not even to set up this. I just don't know. I think I want to do something different. Let me know if you have any ideas, tones, like I have the purple. Maybe I just get rid of all of that type of color and just keep it nice and bright white. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, let's check this out. Notice how much finer the metal, I hope my mic doesn't sound too weird when I'm up like this. The metal on here is much finer, whereas before there was like those big jagged looking little freaky things that were sticking up. Okay, more tip work. I enjoy doing these videos because I feel like I'm hanging out with some people, even though I'm by myself talking to a piece of metal and plastic and glass. But some of y'all have been following and commenting on a lot of the videos, and it's kind of fun. So I want these videos to be more approachable and a hangout sesh. Maybe I'll start doing lives in the new place. Because these cameras that I have, I can set up. I just have to get the console to then go live from, which I have one, but it's outdated. My studio, it's called, God, I used to stream on Twitch back in the day when I lived in California. Cooking, not knife stuff, just cooking. Well, I would do knife stuff, but just cooking. Okay, so I'm now gonna start alternating. I'm kind of sad. I put a lot of work in the studio, and it's not just the studio. I've learned a lot being here. I went from Panasonic Lumix cameras that I really didn't know my way around to then getting these Sonys, which probably wasn't the best decision, but it was at the same time. Learning all the stuff about the cameras, the lighting, just the aperture, the settings on here so I can go like this and then bring you back and look at my face in an Atoma stone. Just a lot. The sound, I've learned a lot being here. So I'm sad to leave, but I'm excited to take what I've learned, not just about knives and sharpening, but just all the studio equipment, the editing. It's a lot of work. It's a non-stop type of mental exercise, that's for sure. One thing I can say that I am really enjoying about the stone is I have no water. I am just wiping the metal off, as you can see. I don't even have my apron on today. And the stones are stable. There's no little divots. I'm not chipping the edge from going off too far. It's a very consistent experience from stone, from plate to plate to plate. And I think that this 1200 definitely is going to be something that I'm likely going to keep downstairs, probably next to this Enso finishing stone, because, or a 5000 like this Sharpen, because I think to be able to just ever so slightly reshape the edge just a little bit, and then a quick finish on the whetstone with a little bit of water, and they're just rinse and go. A strop, it's easy, especially right next to a sink. Strop motion. So tip to heal. Alternating. That is a Carter Cutlery tip that I learned. Feels sharp. Before stropping, let's see. I made a face there because on a little bit of an angle, it's not grabbing. So this could do the trick, which I kind of expected it wouldn't be perfect without stropping or honing anyway. Let's give this a flip. I'm gonna get my leather all dirty. Whatever. And I'm just gonna come back here. The fine side you can use to strop, but it's gonna be just real fine tuning. But if you hold your blade pretty much flat, it'll just give the edge a bit of a polish. I mean, that feels pretty darn good. See that curve I'm doing? It doesn't like to grab on the edge. I wonder if it's just, okay. There we go. It's really good, but it's not where I want it. I'm gonna try doing just a real light. I mean light. I'm not putting much pressure at all. There's a sound I'm making at the end there. I think I'm lifting. That's better. I'm lifting too early and hitting something uneven. Not sure if you can hear it. Wipe this off. This is a beefy strop. You put it on, it's pretty stable. So I have the Kramer one, which is downstairs, which I've been using for the last, I started using the strop at some point in 25. So maybe not, maybe it was the end of last year. It hasn't been quite a year yet. And, you know, once you go strop, you don't go back. That's all I can say. Better. Yeah, I feel like it's good. I've got a little piece at the tip there that I need to shape a little better. See the very tip, there's that little like pimple, like a 1/16 of an inch back. I mean, the other thing is it could simply just be the overall geometry of this is definitely much more abrupt. By the way, this is the new Zuma Bunka. I haven't used it yet. I'm very excited. This is probably going to be the first video back. We've had the chefs for a while. So completely different type of edge geometry. It's there, but it's very different. Okay. I still got to fix that tip, which I'm not going to do now. What I'm going to do real quick, and I mean quick, so this isn't an 85-minute long video, or an hour and 15-minute for those of you who prefer that. Anyway, prep sesh video, gonna come probably first video back in the new studio, just so you know. I am going to take my little knife here. The thing I don't like about this knife, if you look at the very butt here, right before the choil, there's this curve. It's just a slight curve. And I don't know why they have that in the blade there and not at the tip, but part of me just wants to completely grind this down, but I'm not going to worry about it now. I'm just going to worry about getting this a little bit of an edge. It's bad. I mean, there's no burr at all. That's crazy. I forget what type of steel this is. Wow, I'm putting quite a bit of force on there, and there is no burr developing. Definitely plenty of metal coming off. That sounds so weird. Why does this sound so weird on that side? My handle's loose, I can feel it. I need to tighten it. Yeah, the screws are loose. Okay, my screws are loose after doing that. Okay, well, let's do a little strop here. Not worried about polishing the edge of this. Okay. I mean, it's better, but it needs quite a bit more work. This felt very, very weird. It sounded really weird too. It feels sharp, but definitely, I can see the burrs on it still. I think with this one, I'm gonna have to hit it with the, I'm gonna hit it with the 400. I'm gonna grind out that little bibbity boop at the back there. And I'm going to straighten this out completely and re-sharpen it. Okay, well, what did we learn? We learned that Atoma Diamond Plates, not stones, can sharpen a blade, obviously. I feel like I would want to take this to a 3 or a 5,000 because it's what I've been doing throughout pretty much every episode, is finishing it with that higher grit. And the reality is, I don't need to, but I want to. But this is sharp. The little bit of an angle, and it could just, again, be the geometry of the blade. See how it's ripping there? It's not. This is out of the box sharp. Japanese style Bunka, hand forged in China with American BG42 steel. It is the mashup of mashups. And it's wicked sharp. So that definitely was finished in a higher grit. This feels good. I know it would perform well in the kitchen, but I want it to go a little more. So should you invest in diamond plates? If you're sharpening often and you want to have different plates, stones for different types of knives in different use cases, I would say yeah. If you're trying to restore a knife, definitely get a 140 or the 400. The other thing, in the way these are marketed on our site, is to level out whetstones. So if you're using whetstones, you likely should get at least a 400 to level out your stones with. You could even fine tune it with the 1200, and then you have the 400 and the 1200 for when you need to sharpen your pocket knife but do a better job than I did, or your everyday beater knife. You just want to do something quick and you don't feel like having water and your bridge set up and all of that. I would say, yeah, go for it. If you're looking for the easiest possible way to sharpen your knives with plates that are going to last, I don't even know if these things go bad. They're going to last a very long time. They're going to stay level. All I have to do is rinse this under the water. I'll hit it with my little dish brush to get some of the bits of steel out, and I'm done. Super low maintenance and effective. This right here, I'm telling you, is sharper than what most people have in their kitchen. Okay? It's doing the trick. I don't think it's going to cut this. See what I mean? It's a completely different world, but I believe not only is, don't try and catch a falling knife. If I look at the edge geometry, they're quite a bit different. And I can see it with my naked eye from a foot plus away. So I think that has to do with some of it. It's not just the sharpened edge, it's the overall geometry of the blade. So, this is it. This is the last video. I'm gonna get emotional. I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun move. It's gonna be good for us and the baby. And it's gonna be good for you too. And there you have it. Whew. I'm Chef Brandon with CutleryMore.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. The 3 Atoma plates are available on the site, whether you need them to level out your whetstones or sharpen your knives. The new Enso strop, it's not on the site today, and I don't know when this is going up, but it will be very soon. Other than that, oh, one last little plug here. This is the new universal 8-inch chef's knife, cherry, US made out of Chicago with local cherry wood with a food grade oil finish and embedded magnets in the spine that fits and sticks for the majority of knives, especially this global G-2 8-inch chef's knife. But it also works for a lot of other fits and sticks. And I have a video where I go through like 70 different knives and show that, which will be linked below, or you can find uploaded at some point within a video or two of this one. There you have it. I should probably stop. I feel like I'm rambling. I think I'm rambling a little bit because I know it's the last video here and I'm going to miss it. See you in Georgia. Oh my God, it's stuck to my feet again, as usual.